Okie dokie. So we're going to move now to spare parts. Somebody might know a little bit about spare parts in this trio. Spare parts finished in 22nd position. They were sync listed at 15th. They have Four Eyes, Ghibli, Master Guardian, Queenie, Nessica, and Lycan on their team. And just fun fact, Four Eyes got the highest GRC of anybody in the bottom 8 teams. There you go, 1.6. What can you tell us about the spare parts, mate? I'm sure you've got lots to share. I'm setting up timer.
It's like a dysfunctional team that could really. Obviously 2 players coming from overseas, 2 from out of Queensland, and 2 from out Victoria. So
mic off.
Training together because myself and Lycan actually arrived after the opening ceremony
mic on.
of the comp, and then I was really crook. So I missed about 3 days of competition, I think. I just kind of went in blind, no expectations. I was like, look, let's just have a good time, see what we can do with what we got, and go from there. And I wasn't disappointed. A great bunch of people to play with, especially guards and Ness. Never played with them before, and I've played all tier of the competition now, and actually soaking in guards' wisdom in terms of gameplay and stuff like that is really cool to see. So I've learnt quite a bit from this comp. Learnt not just about myself as a player, but different ways of reading a game and basically how to play, really. So yeah, great, good time.
Something I know from history is guards has not always been with the strongest players, so he's had to utilise his wisdom and wiliness to get victories. And he knows how to play lots of different strategies. He knows how to play dumps. He knows how to play normal traditional games. And when he defends, he likes to. Mopar plays similarly in defence. They like to move between positions. So every time you enter the base, they're in a different spot.
Can confirm.
It becomes really tricky and really frustrating as an attacker. So, what can you tell us about the structure of your team and what roles you guys were playing?
All throughout round robin and Cascades, we're still trying to figure out what was working for us. Obviously, it took us a lot longer to figure out what was working for us than potentially other teams, just because we were kind of just mushed together. But so basically guards was our game leader. He was making some really good calls, and Jessica was our pretty much lead defender as well. Again, another person that likes to play under the base. There was times where I'd be running around coming back to swap with her or something like that, and I couldn't find her, and I'd just be like, oh no, she's gone. And then guards or Queenie or someone would remind me, oh, she's under the base. It's just like, oh, okay, sweet. So I had to go in and pull her out because she's been in there for so long, part of the furniture. I was basically lead attack or push floater most of the time. Queenie was our dedicated floater. For the time that Ghibli was playing with us, she was usually second off the blocks to go attack. And guards was basically running games from wherever he was. It was a great bunch of people to play with. Obviously, we had teething problems and stuff like that, but we managed to pull it together for a few wins on the last day. Maybe not as well as we would have hoped, but I had heaps of fun. I didn't have to stress about strategies and stuff because I was like, sweet, Guardian's got this. So I was just having a good time and making jokes and all that sort of thing, the kind of thing that's kind of kept me around for so many years now. So yeah.
I think you go, Bootza.
I was just going to say, I'm probably biased, but somebody who's probably a bit underrated is Queenie, I think.
Oh yeah,
she's actually a really good pack-on-pack player, and because she's playing in the environment up here in Queensland, she's through osmosis just picking up all those things. She's obviously she doesn't take it as seriously as the top tier teams. But that's what we love about her. But she does know how to play, and she's a great player to have on your team. Such a great soldier. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely remember coming up against Queenie in the round robin, I think. And yeah, she was really, really difficult to deal with on the back door. Is typically, so for those that weren't there, a lot of the teams were typically putting some of their best pack-on-pack players or their top players with the best timing on the back doors of the base, because that was traditionally where a lot of the attackers would want to get into the base from, because that's where there was the least angles, like from sniping angles. So it was easier to activate on the back door than it was on the front door. So your attacker would go to the back door, and then you just have to win your duel against the back door defender, and then you get into the base. But Queenie's timing was really, really good, and very difficult to deal with, even in that one round robin game I remember versing Spare Parts in. So yeah, well done, Queenie.
Is there any chance of a reconvention of the Spare Parts team, or do you think it was a team of convenience for this year?
Man, I'd love to play with them again. Obviously, playing with Lycan, I played with her in 2016 on the team with her, and she's one of the ones that basically taught me everything I know as far as a defensive player goes. So I'm nothing but good things to say, especially to guards and Nessica. Like, they would, a lot of the time, Ness would check up on me. When I was quite sick, she'd be like, "Oh, you want anything or anything like that?" And I'd be like, "No, just leave me to die." But, it was a good time. Definitely would like to play with them again. Queenie and Jipley especially Jipley for the time that she was there. I haven't played with her before. Another good pack-on-pack player, and obviously it showed with her coming third in women's. But yeah, no, it was just a good time. Yeah, heaps of fun.
I had looking at the placings of the average scores of all the teams across the whole comp. Spare Parts in round robin had the second highest average score in the bottom 8, and then in Cascade 1 and 2 you had the highest average score of all the bottom 8 teams. So my guess from just looking at the data and not versing you guys outside of that one round robin game would be that you got a lot of bases most of the time, and maybe that meant that you were leaking a lot of bases as well. Is that generally what was happening?
Yes and no. The only reason I'd say that is because a lot of our leaky points were coming from denials. And that's a lot of the time just not used to each other's voices, just not used to each other's play styles, that sort of thing. I'm lucky I didn't team deny anyone, but there were times I would just come racing into a base and realizing it was my own team that was taking, or I wouldn't be covering a door as well because I'd be thinking it was someone else taking the base, and I'd end up costing my teammates a base or something like that. But in terms of defense, S was a huge cog in the wheel of the Spare Parts team. She's great on defense. Queenie definitely popped back a lot of the time to check up on defense, and she was managing her positioning quite well as well. Lycan's just a solid rock, you can rely on her to do anything basically. And Guards was, doing Guardian things and just basically keeping track of everyone and everything, and he was helping push through bases, and he was making calls to bounce, and he was making calls to dump if there's been too many bases gone and stuff like that. So I think a lot of our lost points were coming from denials, but I think as a team as a whole, we can definitely see on the scoreboard that we started working more as a team as the comp went on, but obviously just not enough at the end of the day. So I mean, a little disappointing, but again, I can't ask for a bit of random bunch of people to be pushed together into a team. So
it's interesting you bring up denials, Four Eyes, because when I was going through the data, do you want to guess who was the most denied player of the entire comp?
Probably me.
It was by quite a bit as well.
Yep, it's either me or Mopart. Me and him have been having a running joke for a few years now that me and him are going for the most denials and stuff like that. I wish they had a trophy for it, because like I'd be bringing one home every year. So
yeah. So you were the leading that on the solo ladder. So you had an average denial rate of 1.89. So for those not in the know, that means he was getting basically denied on average almost 2 times, like for 2 shots a game, which is 1,000 points is a 2-shot denial that you lose.
Yeah.
There's got to be. We're going to have a recount on that, surely, 4 eyes. That can't be right.
Oh, right.
No, yeah. Like I admit, I bled a lot of points on denials. I would just be like going in like full cowboy, just be like, all right, I think it's clear. I'm just going to go for it, and obviously backfired a little bit. But
well, look, I think I've heard Ibo say before, you miss every shot you don't take. And you ended up being the highest on the GRC ladder of the bottom 8, as Bootza alluded to before. So, you know, that's the cost of greatness, I guess, is getting denied.
Stop it. It's just maybe a bit of carelessness too. I'm just like,
well, a bit of
lack of patience, I guess. I'm just like, get in there and get the base and just make sure that my teammates are all right and try and help them get through. So.
I certainly think it's underestimated just how much playing with people for even a little while reduces the amount of denials. I don't know from my experience playing doubles with players from interstate in the past. The first round, we're both getting denied left, right, and centre, and then it takes a few games, and you start to get used to each other's voices and positioning, and then you can start to get into it. So I could see how when you've got 6 players from 3 different states, that might be happening a little bit.
Oh, definitely. And considering myself and Lycan ended up getting pretty sick, you know, we both sounded like grumpy old men halfway through the comp, and whenever we try and call for each other, we just end up having a coughing fit in the middle of the maze. So, whoops. Oh well, it's something for me to work on anyway.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, Tassie might be colder than Bendigo next year. Hopefully we can have a little bit less Nats flu next year than this year. Yeah.
Everyone was coughing.
Oh yeah, I've spoken to a lot of people this week, and everybody's got a croaky voice. So I fully recognise what you guys were going through down there. So okay. So that was the spare parts review. Big congratulations to the spare parts guys for having such a great time and playing so well.